Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is?
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking?
I'm alive and something kicking. I'm alive.
Ever since we got called out for that word, we listen to the aunties who listen to this podcast. You know, when they kuza us, we behave.
Exactly. We try our best to make sure. Siyazama. I'm trying to look for something here. I was having a discussion with our producer and I was like, should this be the opening tune? And I said, actually, or rather she said, this one might be a little bit disruptive, Mr. Moy. Mr. Maposa, rather. I'm trying to find the best way to... You see, I don't think Apple's updated because they were saying I could just mirror my desktop or whatever I'm doing on my phone.
Yeah.
So I just send it to my laptop via iMessage, and then I think it will get the energy of the podcast started, so that people know exactly what's going on with the podcast, you know, and what direction that we're going in. But in the meantime, guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
My name is Senna.
And we're here for a good time, not a long time. So the Shandis has been sent.
What's the Shandis? Wait, are we talking? Is this intro song?
Yeah, just a brief, let me not even call it an intro song. It's just laying the foundation, I think is what I'll call it. Let me know if you can hear this, Mr. Moy. Let me know if you can hear this.
I can hear this and I can see your DMs. Oh, true.
That makes a man go crazy every time.
You gotta give him that hawk tune. Spit on that thing. Hawk tune. Spit on that thing. Hawk tune. Spit on that thing. You gotta give him that hawk tune. Spit on that thing. Hawk spit on that thing. Hawk tune. Spit on that thing. You gotta.
That makes a man.
Hey. Welcome back to the podcast. You gotta give it a hawk.
Honestly, that thing killed me.
Bruh.
It's the vivid description.
No, it's like it's and the funny thing is it wasn't, when you listen to it, right? It's not straight nasty. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you I heard it initially when she said it and I was like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but then 2 seconds later or a split second later, I'm like, oh, you nasty. Because everyone was just saying hawk tuah on Twitter and they were typing it out, hawk tuah, and I was like, what the hell? And then I see the video and I'm like, oh.
You know, the funny thing is, she actually, like, she explained it phonetically, which is something which people don't do.
Exactly. Yo, that's what I'm saying.
Like, no one does it.
The actual act, right? Because that when you do the hawk, typically, this is outside of performing the act, guys, right? That hawk is nasty. And I've heard it, and I've gone to like the bathroom, especially in the gym or whatever. You go, bruh, and you just or like you have and you know the ones who are notorious for this, Mr. Moy? Old people,
smokers, old smokers,
because old people cook at the item, dog, and it's just like
it's usually old cigarette smokers, and the reason is it's usually because they've got they've got all this mucus built up in their ting, right?
Yeah.
So once they figure and then you're like,
no, once they start to cook.
My question is,
when they hawk, when they hawk, it's nasty.
So the follow-up question was, do people actually like, are there people that enjoy it? When they're doing the deed?
Listen. Wow, this is where we are 8 minutes into the podcast.
It's so nasty.
No, it's not. This is the thing. It's. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak.
What do you mean it's not?
getting head from a smoker. I can't speak for that, right?
What do you mean it's not?
What? The Hawk Tour?
Because there's levels.
The Hawk Tour will change your life. The Hawk Tour will change your life, my guy.
No. You mean the tour or the Hawk Tour? The tour is fine. The Hawk Tour.
Also, there's a difference. I mean, again,
there's a difference.
Okay,
a tour
Hawk Tour is mad. All right,
Hawk Tour because it must come from the back there.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
No.
Okay, fine. We can, if you're saying it literally, Hawk Tour is a bit much, right? That's all I'm saying. So it's a bit, but I think she said it that way in terms of the spirit is sloppy top.
Yes.
That's the spirit of the message.
The spirit of the message.
That's the spirit of the message. But if you're actually going a Hawk Tour, I think it's a bit too much commitment to the cause, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
please.
Yeah, no, it's like, listen, man. so it's funny because like there's these posts on Twitter. So like when Ahan posts a thirst trap or something mad, right? Someone will quote it and it'll be like, you know, looked at her bio, no OnlyFans, no nothing, just straight love of the game, bro. So some of you guys are just committed to the game, and it's like shout out to the OGs, bro. Shout out to the OGs. Not everything has to be a transaction, but
100%.
Yeah, no. Hawk Tour. It's a bit much. It's a bit too much commitment to the game. You know, it's giving Iniesta. For those who remember, but yeah, we just need the tour.
It's giving Nancy Reagan.
Hey, bruh. Was Nancy Reagan on the Hawk Tour?
I don't know. Apparently she was the GOAT in Hollywood. So
let's get Tomban. Was it Clinton on the podcast? No. Is it who? No, fuck. I'm thinking of who was Clinton's son? Tomban.
Clinton was Hillary.
No, man. Oh, in the Oval Office, not wife.
Yeah, that was Clinton. That was Monica.
No, but who? There we go. That's what I'm thinking of, not Nancy Reagan. Oh yeah, they say Nancy Reagan used to be the throat goat. I remember.
Exactly.
Oh
Nancy
shit.
Reagan used to be the throat goat.
Okay. You know what? Time. She really must have been about that Hawk Tour because that era was heavy on the smokers. You know what I mean? If you watch any movies or any TV shows, it's so jarring when they go back to like the 60s, 70s because
everyone had a cigarette.
Every scene, dog, includes a cigarette. That's how they make it's almost like it's not really a cop out. Like it's like it gets annoying to me because is showing me people constantly smoking the only way you can remind the audience that this is a 60s, you know, set movie or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like I think it's done. It's like, yo, bro, we get it. Like, and it's like, if they're being accurate, it's like, no wonder the cancer is doing what it's doing now because, bro, like, you mans was puffing over baby, literally, right?
I'm not sure if you were ever called into Dave's office in high school.
Yeah,
that man was a powerful smoker.
Yeah, no, that guy was a chimney, bro. That guy was a chimney. Yeah, R.I.P. But
R.I.P. You got to yeah. He was much younger than he looked.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, he looked like he was in his 70s or some shit, bro.
No, I think when we were in high school, he was in his late 60s, early 70s.
Nah, he looked his age. It's like, you know, twins, they age differently. But anyway, Mr. Boy, we've had our laughs. We need to get into some serious things here.
Yes.
Oh man, before we even get into the serious things, I just need to notify. I feel obligated to notify the state of Zimbabwe on 2 points of order. One is related to us, and the other one is related to the other podcast. So we'll go one by one because I think the us one is kind of funny actually. So Ropa sent, I'm not sure, it wasn't a message, but she responded she added us on Twitter. I think that's the best way to put it, right? And she was like, hey, you man, go back to doing house intros. And like, you know, the way we were doing shit is, you know, people are attached to the old ways, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But the irony of all this is ever since we started experimenting with Suno and the dancehall tracks specifically, we've trended in Zim like just consistently, bro. And we've fallen off in other markets. So like for me is responding, bro. Me is like, no, a powerful item, this one. You can jive to it. But SA really it's late. UK, it's late. You know, like Kenya, all these other markets kind of like we're half where we used to have strongholds. So I think you know, the question here is, do we forsake the Zim part of the podcast for the international acclaim, Mr.
I actually, you know what? In a weird way, I agreed with her, because I think the first time we tried it out, I listened to it. It took me aback a little bit, because I was in the car. So usually I was in this pod will drop on a Friday morning, and then apologies guys if you hear dishes. Deal with it. It is what it is.
Deal with it. It's not the Two Broke Twimbos podcast. We have standards. Nah, I'm kidding, guys.
It is what it is. It took me back a little bit. I was like, whoa, okay, this is different. But I think what can tend to happen is there's something she said about over time. I think you gain goodwill, and then you gain a certain, I don't know, familiarity with people. People kind of know what to expect. Like if I change the intro, like if I'm like, yes, keep on my post. So I'm like, Senna, actually, can you just go back to the way you used to do it?
People want to hear the wild guan. Yeah, they want to hear that. They're attached to that.
So I can understand it. It took me aback a little bit. You could then feel like, but why any podcast is changing? But the funny thing is, and that's like change in all walks of life. So sometimes change, people are like very responsive and they're like, oh yeah, I think we like that. Yeah. But there's very, very limited instances where that happens. Most of the time when you change something, folks are like, hey, the way it was.
It's not lost on me as you Zimbabweans who say, you know, keep the same old, and then complain that your government has kept the same old. It's not lost on me at all. But I'm just playing. Like I think I get it and I hear it. Like it is fun. Like again, I love, you know, house music and stuff. But it was cool also from a technology point of view to be like to put in some prompts and like shit is just out there. You know what I mean? Like it's not perfect. Like I could, once I did it a couple of times, I could kind of understand the formula of what the Suno AI thinks is music, you know, or how to make music and create it. And like, it was very, like once you do a couple, you'll be like, okay, cool. I see your formula. Kind of just how you can, you know, if you were a teacher, for example, and your student submits an essay and it's been all done on ChatGPT, you would be able to tell. This is an AI generated, you know, if you've read enough AI generated stuff, you'll be able to, you know, there's just certain things that you cannot just hide from if you're using AI in most cases, which is completely fair. But anyway, the second point of order, Mr. Moya, is I was listening to the Two Broke Twimbos podcast, as I normally do, and 2 weeks in a row, Dan, Danford Dube, Dennis,
Danford,
he's gone on a bit of an attack on his own people.
Putin.
It's been a bit concerning, you know. And I thought, you know what, let me bring it to the audience here and say, what do you guys think? So basically, it was on 2 occasions. But the main theme of what he has said is Zimbabweans, or as Zimbabweans, we don't know how to be a good audience. We suck at that. So he gave 2 main examples. right?
Okay.
The first example was him and Phil went to see King Kandura in H.
I also had an experience which I would like to...
So he said Guti, hey, listen, Kandura did his thing. Shout out to the boy, but the audience doesn't know how to be an audience. It was a bit... essentially, this is me saying this, but he was basically saying it was giving ghetto a little bit. Like, it was just people didn't know. There's etiquette.
Is this Dan saying
etiquette.
this, or is this Tabo saying this?
No, this is Dan. This is what I got from his message, right? let me put it that way. This is what I got from his message.
You're paraphrasing.
I'm paraphrasing a hair. But what he literally said is there was people who were it almost felt like they were competing with Kandura in jokes. Which is bro, that's not your role as an audience member.
What do you mean by competing? How do you compete with a stand-up comedian who's on stage?
You know, those audience members who go back and forth with you, if you're doing crowd work. If you've seen crowd work snippets on online of different comedians and stuff like that, that's what I felt like he was alluding to. Uti, it's Chief, you can have your one little moment as an audience member, but let's not go back and forth or keep consistently trying to add on to the joke, or you know what I mean, just other shit where it's audible. And then people were going consistently in and out, you know, you stand up and this and just the audience was a little bit unhinged. And I was like, okay, fair enough, fair criticism. And then the next week he went on another tirade. So in this edition, for real, bro. In this edition of I think they should call it "What is Dan mad about now?" But in this edition, they went to, I forget, there was a festival, music fest in Harare. It's basically Unplugged or Garden of House. From the description, it sounded like that, right? For people trying to understand what was going on. So they had DJs there, specifically South African DJs, Oscar Mbo, Sun L, and I think Murder Bongs, I think, is who he named. But those Afrotech DJs is who they had, right? About 4 or 5 of them. And then he talked about how, again, the audience was not you can tell that the DJ is cooking either through his transitions or the tune that he's playing, a deep cut, and the audience was just not responding. But at that point, I chuckled because I'm listening, right? I'm attentively listening to what this guy is saying. Then he added a bit of context that I was like, aha, this is not a Zoom discussion. This is a Harare discussion. So he goes,
not you putting this disclaimer separating our people.
No. I had to. No, listen. Me, I unapologetically rep Skies every day, all day, right? Because me, I've booted in Skies, and it's a good ass time, right? Skies people are amazing. So anyway, so now he goes on to say, hey, because they were talking about how, the audience aren't reacting when a DJ does the deep cuts. Right? And why is it that the Zim DJs, they just play all the popular music and this is that? So when he's talking about popular music, he then mentions the track "All I Do Is Win" by DJ Khaled and T-Pain and Ludacris and all them, man. So immediately I was like, okay, no, this is the Harare thing. Because I don't think I've been to a Sky's function where someone played "All I Do Is Win," bro. I don't know when the last time I heard that track. It's been a while. Right, because in Skies, if you're in Smokehouse and there's a set going on, I've heard deep cuts, but we did to be fair, we did complain about how many times Yes God and what was the other one, E-Plan, those two
was played in December by that.
How he died? No, December. Those three. There's a third item I forget, but the horns something by UTJ Kent. Those three, terrible. We suffered in December. Those you just knew, and the thing is that we played in order. So it's okay, fine, get all three out of the way, people dance or whatever. But there's still other tunes that you can go to, right? But the spirit of the message was still the same. So when he said that all I do is win, and people just want to hear the pops, then I was like, okay, that's a Harare, type of thing that happens there. Which to me, because I feel like the party culture in H, and again, I'm not an expert, it feels more you're there to socialize, right? I'm there to see Senna at this social spot, than I am to go have a good time. And part of having a good time is enjoying the music that's there. That's what it kind of, feels like a little bit. Because I went to Unplugged many, many years ago, and it felt like that. People were just kind of in their own spaces, kind of zoned out. The music is there, but people are not really paying attention to the music. They're paying attention to the people around them, and kind of, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what was going on. And then like Winky D jumped on stage, and then everything, like people paid attention to him, right? Because it was funny as fuck, because I didn't know who Winky D, at least visually, I didn't know who the fuck he was. I didn't know his music. So when everybody started running to stage, I think it was maybe even a surprise performance. Oh yeah, they kept hinting the whole day, like, we've got a surprise artist, da 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 da, right? And then he jumps on stage. Yeah, so when he started performing, people go mad, bro. Like, cameras out and everything. So I remember I'm sitting with one of my friends, and I'm like, who's that, bro? Because I've never seen people react that way. Like, it was one of those, like, like AKA, type of thing, or freaking Drake type. It was that type of hype in that space, right? And I was just kind of like, yo, who is this person? And my boy goes, oh, it's Winky D. I'm like, oh, so that's Winky D. Oh, okay, cool. Right? So then he performed, and, as soon as he was done performing, everybody went back. And it was back to the regular.
See, but that kills the momentum of the event.
Yeah, it does. It does. It 100% does. But I mean, that's what I said. Like, I think party culture in Asia is definitely more. It's almost like it's if you've ever been to like a car auction type vibe, like just people are just there, and it's like some people are there to flex, some people are just there to socialize, and it's just kind of who's hanging out with who. It just seems very cliquey in that sense. But from like a Sky's perspective, like you show up to a place and people are actually turning up. So much so that like there was a time we were at what's the name of that? I don't even know if Senna would know it. Eaton, yeah, I think yes, it used to be Eaton, but now it's called something else. Yeah, people were booting out. So Eaton was full, bruh, and people were booting because it was full. Someone who had someone had a car who had like a Yamaha subwoofers or whatever, turned it up. And there was a mini drive outside. Like, people were actually like just going ham. And I was just like, yeah, this is Skies. This is typical Skies behavior. Where it's like, how is there a party and they always had their own soaks, and like, I'm like, this is just another level. But it's like, okay, people are here to have a good time. Or let me not say good time, because I'm sure the H people are having a good time, right? But it's a thrive, and people are there to thrive. I think that's kind of what the difference is when it comes to Skies, right? We are there for said purpose. We're not here for all these other things and whatever. Like if you look at like Garden of House, like, bro, like people are turning up. It's here. People are here to soak, and people are here to turn up and groove. That's basically what was happening at that point. But anyway, I found it very, very funny that he said Zim audiences are poor. But I again, I didn't feel like he was wrong. I was like, okay, you're probably right.
He wasn't wrong. I actually watched some of those clips, and I was like, it's funny, but maybe. Do you know what it is? I think for a while, as a people, we've been starved of certain things and certain entertainment or forms of
nice things.
Yes, yeah. Right. And now when we get to some of these spaces, we don't know how to act. So I remember, and this is a true story. A few months, I don't know when King Kandura was in Cape Town. A few months ago, me and my wife went to a show. It was great. It was amazing. He killed it. But people kept getting up and leaving, and then coming back in, and getting up and leaving, and coming back in. Omunye even went to get a whole plate of food to sit during the comedy show. Like, I'm not talking.
Wait, what do you mean a whole plate of food? So there was chow at the venue.
So the venue was at a hotel in Cape Town CBD, right? So the hotel has an auditorium where he performed, but then on the other side there's like a deli or cafe where they sell food, like proper food.
As the hotel itself.
And then on the other side there's a bar where you can get drinks. So what they said was, no, you'll be allowed to go into the auditorium with your drinks and your food, right?
Okay.
did homegirl not have a whole plate of rice and chicken? This is the start of a show, right? Start of a comedy show. Like there were just other little things where you're like, okay, so I don't know why. She was probably hungry.
Rice and chicken, dog.
Yeah, it was. Well, so the show was Friday at 8 p.m. So me and my wife were smart about this. We're like, okay, I picked her up from work, and then we're like, pick you up from work at 6 p.m. The show's at 8. It doesn't make sense for us to go home and then come back.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't had dinner, so let's just pass by Nando's, grab something to eat, and we ate very quickly in the car, and then we walked into the hotel for the show. Fun times, right? Then we grabbed our drinks and anything, bathroom breaks, all of it before the show, so that when the show starts, we sit down, and then the man can perform, and we don't have to get up. So first thing that I think, I'm like, okay, my people, we need to do better. People just kept standing up and leaving the venue and coming back and leaving and coming back. And I'm like, okay. And we're not talking like people sneaking away from like the back row. I'm talking muntu middle seat, like middle seat.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Clearly someone who's went to the bathroom. All right. And then homegirl who was sitting in front of us went and then got food. And then I think she could, it became awkward because she could see no one else. Everyone else was just carrying drinks. And then she's like, oh, sorry, can you just pass the plate, Now so what do
you mean pass the plate?
No, because Angiti, so she stepped out to buy the food. And then I think she was with her mans or whatever. Mans held the plate. And then she went to sit down, and then the plate had to be passed to her so that she could sit down. So now what?
This is mid performance of King Kando.
This is just before he starts, right? Just before he starts. But mid performance, abantu are walking up and down. Toilet, and then
how long was this performance?
But over an hour, just over an hour. So it's like a normal stand-up show.
You niggas couldn't hold it for 1 hour.
No,
1 hour, and
I held it. I was chilling. Me and my person and my homies, we didn't move once. We're just sitting there. Simnandi. We have our drinks. We're fine. Even when the drinks ran out, I wasn't getting up to be like, gonna go get a refill, right? I'm like, ipe, right? Yeah, I'm not about to disrupt Umuntu when he's performing and just be walking, loitering around. So from that perspective, I see what Dan means. I think we sometimes don't know how to be a good audience in several ways, right? So it could be maybe the noise we make, maybe the way we interact with the talent. It may not provide with the best, experience for them, or it might be awkward. But for me, what I found disruptive was, look, as Puma Sugum. I'm like, these are manners, right? At school, when there's assembly, you don't just get up and go. Prefects would be looking at you on some side eye, like, hlala pants. You can.
Yeah, no, because Mwomba's right there, and he'll sort you out.
Yeah.
So and you're the one on that got up.
Exactly. Some of these things I think is exposure. Maybe we didn't grow up going to a lot of shows and movies and theaters and comedy shows to an extent where, like so my sister once got us tickets. Her friend and my wife and I, we went to see Mamma Mia, the ABBA show. So it was in theater. So we went to theater. Theater's strict, bro. Like they don't play around in theater. You sit down, you shut up, you don't pull out your phone. You sit down, shut up, don't pull out your phone. You don't even bring beverages into the venue. Yeah. They might allow you water, but that's it. No alcohol. You'll drink your alcohol outside by the auditorium, then you'll come in and you'll sit down and keep quiet. There was another lady who took out his phone while Mans was performing. And she started recording. And it's very clear, if you've gone to comedy shows anywhere in the world, you don't record a comedian's set with your cell phone.
Yeah, that's their material.
It's their material.
But how long did she record though?
For a while. I remember even my wife was like, Kanto Sislo is gonna record the whole thing.
Yo, that is actually wild, man. No, so Kando, you need to invest in some security gap, because you're right, when you go to these, I've gone to Kevin Hart, Trevor Noah, Kevin Hart twice, and I can't remember who the other comedian was. Like, you get to the especially for the Kevin Hart one we went to in Abu Dhabi, they lock up your shit, bro. They have these pouches that are locked, and this is a case of Kevin Hart who had 3 opening acts, his boys, plus the Kevin Hart show. So for a good 3 hours, probably, you have no phone. No phone at all. If you need to use your phone, you get up, you go outside to the auditorium or whatever, and then you go to there's certain checkpoints. Oh, no, they give you your pouch. So you're carrying your phone, but it's in the pouch. And then there's checkpoints outside where you can go to the person and then when you're done using your devices, they lock it again, and you take your phone, you know. So it's like it's proper tight and all this, like, but you can get food, you can get drinks and stuff, but like, again, generally speaking, at a comedy show, you're getting like popcorn, you know, like at worst, like get
not
a
rice
hot
and
dog.
chicken.
Rice and chicken is wild. No, like, right, honestly speaking, if I'm Kandoro in that moment, I'm roasting you, dog. I've got jokes for you. Like, Jegi CBD usu endlini ulambili rice and chicken uzokudla phambi kwami. Like, nah, bro, that's disrespectful.
No, but in Homegirl's defense, if there is one, it was 8 p.m. supper time. Okay.
No, the only defense that I would ever accept is if someone called her last minute. She's on the way home. She's had a long day. It's been stressful. And then Senna says, hey, yo, bro, I've got an extra ticket for you. Let's go see Kandor. I say, bro, I haven't eaten. Nah, come. If that was the case, then okay, fine. You're starving. That's on you. But even at you're starving, it's a 1-hour show. Did he have any opening acts?
He had one guy, but it wasn't long. I mean, it was about 15
So probably
minutes
like 15 minutes, right?
15 to 20 minutes, yeah.
So you can't go to the cafe, can you chuck me a croissant or a muffin or, you know, just something that would just, you know, meat pie. You know what I mean? Like, or something. Like,
something small.
Just something small, bro, just to hold me down. And then, you know, after the show, you can go and then order your rice and chicken, dog. That is, you know what? A public apology to Dan.
No. So the moment you said, you mentioned Oguti, our people aren't the best audience or the best crowd.
Yeah,
I immediately went to so many examples. There's a time, and like I said, I don't even think Siyazenza. I don't even think it's a Harare Bulawayo thing. I think just as Tina, as Abantu who maybe we just didn't have that much exposure as we were growing up. Yeah, dude. I even went to the one that confirmed it for me. You know, like when you marry someone who didn't grow up in Zim, and then you're like, okay, no, baby. So my boy Sims is a Jah Praiser fan, right? So he's like, Jah Praiser's coming to Cape Town. Let's all get tickets. Shop. Oh no. The first time he started was this guy called K Chaps. So Simba's always trying to get us to get into these Shona guys. And then we go. So he got tickets for K Chaps, right?
Yeah.
K Chaps was meant to perform at some wine farm here in Durbanville. It's called Nitida.
Okay.
The show was meant to, so tickets were on for 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. we get there. Sahlala, we drink, we chill, gumnandi. And literally we chilled until 10 p.m. The venue closed at midnight, right? This guy came out at 10 ebusuku. No schedule, no indication, no post. He's somewhere chilling in the back. He came out at 10 p.m. to perform. By that time, Simba was tired. He's like, guys, let's go home.
I remember you treating me about that.
Right? But that was the performer, not the crowd, right? But yeah, perhaps maybe that's just how the entertainment industry in Zim goes sometimes. And I know sometimes
which is what I'm saying. Like when you're looking at for, I guess,
but there was no lineup, and that was the frustrating thing. Agula lineup.
That just means the promoter is whack, right? Whoever's promoting that event sucks, right? And then if you know promoters and you know that industry, there are others who just they aren't good at what they do. There are others who will put that information out there, and it's like, you know, things make sense, and even though things don't go according to schedule, it's like you know relatively, okay, this is the order. I've seen this guy, so this guy should be next, and this and the third. right? But I think when you can lump everybody in as a collectivism and say you're under the bad audience umbrella when you're talking about, maybe you can talk about it in respect to comedy shows and other non-groove things, right? But I think when it comes to groove, I think I will vouch for Skies. I don't think Skies audiences are bad. Because I've seen these DJs pull up to Skies and do shows, and it's looked like a madness, fam. Like where I have FOMO, like yo, bruh, I wish I turned up, right? So when it comes, and it's a sad thing, right? Because really, in Skies, what are you doing other than turning up?
Yeah,
it's not
sitting
much.
at home. I guess for me, I never really,
it's not much.
never really grooved much in Skies, to be honest. Because when I'm home, I behave.
Yeah. Locked up, they won't let me out. They won't let me out.
This nigga. So then the second one, fine. Maybe the first one I'll say that's K-Chaps, the performer, also disrespecting the people, whatever.
Yeah.
Next time we went to Ja Praiser. Ja Praiser is the one where I think there I gave up. So they had to bring security. Like they had to bring security because I think Ja Praiser had cheaped out on logistics and security for the venue. So what had happened was tickets were available online. If you got there was no scanning thing, there was no checking thing. There were just some guys who were just like, oh, you have a ticket in Ghana. Oh, you don't have a ticket? No. And you're just showing people your ticket on your phone.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think these things are traumas that we inherit. There was just this pity outside queuing up. Like people just angazi why were on top of each other trying to get in. Like it was giving bait bridge. Literally giving bait bridge. And then I think the Woodstock. No, it was. No, it really was. So
declare my goods.
So there's one gate. They literally had to close the other gate because the crowd was now being unruly. People are now forcing themselves in. So we chaos.
Right.
I'm like, guys, why can't we just queue Singene and then whatever? Right, sharp, cool. Then I'm like, okay, fine.
But hold
maybe.
on, Senator, let me pause you right there. Have you ever seen Skies is getting there in terms of this level of spitty, but like if you ever see any clips of driving in Harare, just in like in CBD, bruh, like that, just watch those little clips and then you understand what you're describing. To me, my mind went to some of the clips I've seen of people driving in CBD in Harare, and it's like I would never want to be behind a wheel in this. And it's coming there. There was 6th Avenue there in Blues when I was home in December. I was like, this is now also getting to that point. No, we're creeping up.
So me and my wife, somehow we then find a way to get in. We talk to some guy. He's like, you got your tickets? I'm like, yeah, I got my tickets, but we've just been queuing. We can't hear. Also, it's getting dark. I'm not trying to have my woman queue
this
in
Gebangus.
Yeah, it's a bit dodge. Ja Praiser also doesn't say when he's coming. Gwachaya 11 p.m. on a Sunday. Engagaboy. When it reached midnight, I'm like, buddy, are we still here? She's like, nah, let's dip. We didn't even see him perform. We're like, now we're out. Told my boys, the guy knows Sims were out. He's like, I'm done, I understand. Also, this nigga only came at 1. That whole time, it says PT outside. People are pushing and shoving. And I realized, all you need, and maybe it's exposure. Maybe we just didn't grow up going to all these things. And now, all we know is chaos. All we know is, okay, I'm at a comedy show.
If it ain't chaotic, I don't want it. I don't want that.
I'm at a comedy show. I need to go to the bathroom. I don't know the etiquette or the rules. If they're not explained, or if they're not explained, you take out your phone and start recording. Or even if you're told, hey, no, please don't record, because sometimes they actually tell you, guys, you're recording. Keep it still. I want better for ourselves. And I agree with that.
I wish, you know what, I can't wait for Kandoro to get even bigger, because then you can start chucking people out and you don't have to, it's not going to compromise your bottom line. You know what I mean? Like now I feel like he kind of enjoys some of these things, because like, yo, this is my people, they're supporting me. You know what I mean? Like it's still,
and it's a community.
Exactly. It's still that kind of vibe where like people have your back. But then once you get to that level where it's like Ansaling, then
you can
start to.
You can do what Skumba did to one person. There's a clip I once saw of Skumba cussing out some lady who dared to take out her phone while he was performing.
Really?
Yeah, I'll need to look for it. But he cussed her out. He's like, hey, what are you doing with your phone? Hey, this is my material. I'm performing. Hey, now you want to go sell it online? Well, he was roasting her. It was funny. I just need to find it. But yeah, once you reach that level of Angsangeng, because Kumba's now at that level of Ironenga.
Yeah,
you start to see
he's a machine.
Things.
Yeah, because you need to be kuzwat. The problem is that you, like you said, because we are a chaotic state and we've learned how to operate in chaos and get what we want or get what we need. It's almost like, so this shit is translatable everywhere in life.
I think you've summed it up right. Actually, we only know how to operate in chaos. Like he order as Zimbabweans.
It's not our thing, fam. It's no longer our specialization. Everything well is decent. Things cannot be done by the book. It's just it ain't our thing. But anyway, we're going to continue on this train of shitting on Zimbabweans.
This guy.
We need to talk about our neighbors here in East Africa, Kenya. So for anyone who's living under a rock or not been paying attention to the news, I'll give you just a very simple overview of what was going on in Kenya. So the government passed a bill, or they were working on a bill. I think it was called the finance bill, where they were basically just going to raise taxes, tariffs on certain either industries or foods specifically. I think one of them was even cooking oil. They wanted to increase that 25%, and that was amended. They were like, let's not. But even again, the audacity to to put that out there. Actually, I think I even took a look. Right. So 16% tax on goods and services for construction use specialized in hospitals. For example, cancer treatment, 3% on import fees, eco-levy tax on all products contributing to e-waste, pads and diapers, as an example. 25% on cooking oil. It was amended eventually, but again, these were some of the things that were in the bill. So the finance bill essentially aimed to raise $2.7 billion in additional tax to reduce Kenya's budget deficit and state borrowing. So that's where it all started.
The purpose.
Right. That was the purpose of this entire thing. So obviously that enraged a lot of citizens of Kenya, especially the youth. They galvanized themselves and protested. Unfortunately, some people did die in these protests. They turned a bit violent, where the police were again violent towards their own citizens. And the world was watching. It was all documented. That's the one thing I love about the era that we're in, that you cannot lie. There's so many things that happened in the past that I feel like we are easily manipulated and lied to because there's just no proof. You know what I mean? This is just a very low level example, but it's irritating to me that Michael Jordan, best player alive, and it's like half of you niggas arguing for Jordan didn't even watch him play.
Didn't even watch him play, yeah.
And then it's like, and then the people who did watch him play, again, they speak of him as God, and it's like, bro, listen, I've seen a lot of basketball, some of the things you're talking about. Exactly, relax a little bit, right? But anyway, so in this era where everything is documented, there's proof, there's evidence. So the government looked bad. They looked really, really bad. For a few days, and the Kenyan youth was not playing games. They took the government to task, and I think yesterday the president announced to he's not going to sign the bill. So I don't know if it's sent back for review, or he said no, okay, we're not going to do it at all. But it was again part of what it's a relatable kind of story, right? In the sense that government has a ton of debt, they're not in a good place, and it's like, what can we do? Let's find a way to get more
Increase
money
taxes.
out of our citizens, which is ludicrous. And especially what someone had shared was like, to contextualize why people were so upset in Kenya. They shared a bunch of headlines, right, that have over a certain period of time in Kenya, right, over time, that have gone on to newspapers that have been published. So these are some of the headlines. I'll read them to you.
All right.
Headline number one: how Ruto spent 3.3 billion on luxury. Kachuka seeks 2.6 billion shillings for luxury. He wants to repair his Karen residence, Harambe Annex office, and purchase cars, medals, honors, and insignia, confidential expenditure. A nation in a debt of misery, right? So that's talking about the national debt. Ruto, Rigandi, Mudavidi get 800 million shillings for new cars. Civil servant bought 270 million shillings house in days. Half of Kenyans financially stressed as pay shrinks 25%. You will now pay 50,000 shillings to drain storm water. So these are some of the things that, again, consistently, right? These are headlines that are coming out of that had been coming out of Kenya, where it's like, okay, yeah, we are economically, we're not in a great place, but at the same time, the ministers and entrepreneurs are driving the latest Land Cruisers and this and this and this and that, right? Typical African story, which is pretty sad. And then the last layer of all of this was the very expected layer, which was, as Zimbabweans, and again, I wish I was on the Twitters and social medias of all these other countries to see, are people exactly the same? But I can only speak to what I saw on with respect to Zimbabweans, of like, hey, Zimbabweans, you see what happens if we actually fight for our country. This is what it looks like to not sit on the sidelines. And again, those comments irritate the hell out of me. Because I'm like, Chief, go and, if you want to go and fight the government, go and fight the guys. We're not stopping you. You know what I mean? Like, run at State House and see what happens. And see what happens to you, bro. Like, not everybody's government is the same. And it's like, people don't wake up and choose to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna beef with these guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, there are things that are done systematically by a government, a very intelligent government, in as much as, you know, they might parade around and seem like buffoons, but these are smart individuals who know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it.
And how. So
when you wake up and you just kind of minimalize it to like, yeah, just stand up and revolt, like, bro, it ain't that easy. But at the end of the day, shout out to Kenya, shout out to the youths in Kenya. This was amazing to see. It's unfortunate that life was lost, but the bill has been repealed, and that is the positive that came out of this. And they were able to make their voices heard. So yeah, at least in that aspect, there was a positive. But your thoughts, Mr. Moy?
So for me, Mr. Maps, I'm big ups to the youth of Kenya. Big ups to their spirit of endeavorment and protest and all these things. And I hope that some of these things will lead to, you know, leaders in other countries doing the same, listening to the voice of the citizens, listening to, you know, what people say when they protest, and then leaders backtracking on decisions which, you know, are unpopular or they affect citizens. I think we all want to see that. I'll compare it to, you know, when the ANC accepted the election results. That was also good, even though I think Cyril is intentionally trying to sell the country away. Yeah. But it was good. You know, it's good to see. It's good to see a liberation movement say, "Hey, we hold our hands up. We didn't do well in these elections. It is what it is." The unfortunate part, though, the comparisons to the me's. I don't think they apply because I don't think people know ZANU-PF like that. I think if there's one party that has, I'll call it audacity, one party that has They don't take prisoners, bruh. I mean, who's that journalist who used to write against ZANU? He's been disappeared now for 10 years this year.
What? Hopewell?
No, not Hopewell. Itai Zamara. Remember Itai Zamara disappeared?
For time, bro.
Yeah, he's never been found, right? And then when people protested after the elections, Mnangagwa's first elections, there were live rounds that were being fired in the streets of Harare. So all these things, I sometimes when people say, hey, why don't Zimbabweans do this? Hey, all Zimbabweans ever do is just complain. Hey, they get angry when we tell them to go fix their country. Hey, this Zimbabwe, that. Guys, Zimbabweans have been, they've been protesting since the 80s. They've been protesting since the 90s. Read up on, not sure if you've ever heard of ESAP. So ESAP, there's this thing called ESAP in, I think it was the 90s. It was introduced, the government claimed it was the only alternative to continued production bottlenecks and stagnant local demand and worsening unemployment problems. So ESAP was, let me see what they call it here. Right. So Zimbabwe was experiencing a cumulative breakdown in living standards, life expectancy, and production that plummeted while political oppression increased. This is in the 90s, right? And the government's desperate measures to retain control were exacerbating the problem by fueling inflation and destroying viable businesses' farms. Well, how did this happen? And what can be done to prevent recurring? Zimbabwe tried two contradictory policies after 1980. Initially, it continued with the protectionist policies of UDI, but later exchanged them for market-friendly Economic Structural Adjustment Program, ESAP. The expected dividends of ESAP did not materialize, and many critics blamed it for the subsequent breakdown of the economy. So what happened with ESAP? I think MPs used to buy themselves cars with the money that came from that whole program. The people who are much older, maybe who listen to the pod, will explain it better. We weren't there. But I think people protested then. There's a guy, Solomon Skuza. You know Skuza? Skuza wrote a song about, people who were buying Cressidas during this time. And that's Zimbabwe, right? Thomas Mafumo had to leave the country because he used to sing revolutionary music. He left. And this is what happens when you speak out. And I think for the most part, it's unfair on the people of Zim to be like, yeah, but look at what Kenya's doing. You guys should be taking to the streets and doing this. People have tried it in the past and they've seen people die. They've seen loved ones disappear. It's never going to be the same throughout the continent. And we need to be a bit careful, I think, when we talk about Zimbos and, yeah, we need disruption, we need to do this. I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
No, agreed. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. So there's no point reiterating the words of Mr. Moyo. But so I'm just getting, how we were talking about the whole skies vibe, age vibe thing. So I popped it in the group. These niggas, I like group chats just go left for no reason, bro. And it's just funny how people interpret information and where it chooses to go. So then I just asked the question, right? In terms of what are the differences in like the Putin culture when H and in Harare, right? And I refined it further to be like specific to kind of the crowds, right? If you were sort of like looking from a engagement point of view. And then the first answer is there's better baddies in Harare for sure. And I'm just like it. And then someone responds and says, per square meter, or like, how are you measuring this thing, bro? So now there's a debate, and where's this message? crap, I can't find it anymore. But basically, what this person said was, right, Sky's hands abangela mali versus H hands abangela mali. Let's see what to come on. It's like an H is just access to sheets, isn't it? That's different. It's just a different. It's a different market, right? And it's basically, like you can't even have that debate. So there's no even point. There's no point having that. But they're basically the conclusion from what I'm seeing, because again, you know, it's thick with debate, messages just popping in, and I can't keep track. But basically, what they're saying is like, look, if you're talking about DJs, it's going to be Skies, but Harare is not that bad. That's basically what I'm seeing in terms of the
okay.
But they're saying,
did they really say Hans? It's Harare.
No, this was just one rogue
okay.
with the capital R agent.
Okay.
I'm sure you can even guess who would come up with such an asinine opinion. You see, I want to Veza, but the problem is that people's spouses listen to the podcast. So I was like, I can't then be like, hey, bro, your man's wilding over here. But anyway. But anyway, so just before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on two quick things. One will be super quick. The Kendrick Lamar pop-out concert happened last week.
I saw
any clips.
I actually, so typically when you, Dan, and Phil have these, like, for the listeners, actually, I think I need to vent. So
vent knowing that we're wrapping up, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, we're wrapping up. We're in this group chat, right? So I don't listen to much hip hop, so typically my contributions in hip hop will be non-existent or very limited. But these guys are hip hop heads, right? Like Phil's like into hip hop. Like he's even like into, like, you know, like the dynamics of, you know, on the ground, what it's like. I'm like, yo, this man is like within. Like he's got temperature, even like West Coast. I have no idea, but
it's like I was talking to people who are on the ground. You know what I mean? Like we'll see CNN hip hop and we'll feel.
So first thing, I wake up in the morning. It was last week. You know, when you just check your phone. So usually I have this thing where I go, I drop off my wife, I come back, and then I check my phone, and then I just reply to all my messages. There's like already, this is 9 a.m. There's already like a whole thread of like 50 messages. People are talking about hip hop and Drake and Kendrick. I was like, hey. And this is powerful-ish. So I'm just reading this, and then eventually I'm just like, actually, guys, I think you guys should like, I think you need like a podcast episode dedicated to this beef. Like,
no, my wife has told, she's given me an ultimatum. She's like, hip hop beef.
I actually think, no, but to be honest,
she literally said
that because I think you need it. As your boy. Really
no, not even. You know what?
I think all of you guys
I like. Here's my thing. No matter what the topic is, I love debating with people that are not gonna get emotional or like just you know those people when you go back and forth with them, it's like okay, you know what I mean? Like rational individuals, I think they are pretty rational guys. So it is fun to go back and forth with them.
Facts, and it's like
you know, and
it's like the Borat debates and all these things. Like okay, cool. So I then after that, like after reading your hundreds of messages before 9 a.m., I then went on YouTube and I'm like, okay, what happened here? And I watched it. He performed that song 5 times.
Bruh. Can I be a hater? Can I be a hater for a second?
Yeah,
can I be a hater for a second? This is just me being a hater. I'm putting it full disclosure, right? This was marketed as a Kendrick and Friends. Let's unite LA. It's a big let's unite the West Coast or LA, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You know, it was huge, monumental thing. And you said Drake's name at least 5 to 7 times all night long. Yeah. So,
do you know
I'm just saying.
Do you know what? Do you know what unites people more than love?
Hate.
Yes. Hate.
No, I mean, it was 3 hours of dancing on the grave of Drake, and like the thing is, like it is. I felt
basically.
I genuinely no. I genuinely felt bad for Drake. Like it was and like we said in the group, like the strategy from Kendrick has been masterful,
been powerful.
Hey, like if you want a lesson in like, because I'm still listening to the songs from the beef, you know, and I'm just like, damn, like you listen to how Drake was speaking and his approach and everything. It's like, bro, you never expected what was gonna happen. You did not see this shit coming, my nigga. Like you was like doing victory laps. Family Matters was a victory lap, and again, to me, best song to come out of the beef. But the problem is, the rest of the catalog does not stack up to everything else that Kendrick did with, namely, for me, Euphoria and Not Like Us. Hey, so many quotables, bro. Yeah. And then you go and you perform it on stage in front of thousands of people, 20,000 people, and play that shit 5 times.
And I think if I was Drake, it's not so much that he performed it, but it's that everyone in that arena was singing along.
Yeah,
I think that would, and you know, I look at it. Remember that story, this Indian story of some woman who was killed by an elephant, and the elephant went back and stomped on her grave.
Is that an actual story? I've seen it.
I don't think it happened. I don't think it happened. But hey, if it did, then it means elephants. If it didn't, it means elephants really are vengeful. But that's exactly what Kendrick did. He went there 5 times.
He was on his elephant.
Stomping on his grave. Yeah, man. So I think, look, you could say, look, it's meant to unite. You're mentioning Drake. Do you need Drake to be relevant? But I do sometimes think the way that Drake is being viewed currently by, well, that section of hip hop. I wouldn't say all of hip hop, but that specific section of hip hop, they look at him as a half-white imposter who's happened to make a lot of money from the culture. So,
I mean, that's what the narrative has become, right? So even if you didn't think of it that way, that's now the narrative that's out there. That's what's being pumped out.
That's not what it is.
That's what it is, exactly. It's like it doesn't have to be true. People just have to keep saying it, and you'll think it's true. So it's late for the urn, bro. Like if I was Drake, I'd been in the studio cooking up some hits to just distract from this narrative. That would be my strategy, bro. Like put out something where, because people, again, the people who are less into hip hop like that, like the non-Phils of the world, are the people who peddle narratives, right?
Yeah.
So
like
yeah, exactly. So if you cook up a hit and it slaps, then guess what? We're just talking about Drake, right? We move on from the beef.
My main takeaway from this whole beef has been, okay, Drake happens to be the half white guy who's become very successful in hip hop through cultural appropriation, basically.
Yeah,
and that's how it's going to be. That's how I'm always going to see it. I'm not like deep in hip hop like that. I don't understand some of the nuances and some of the other issues.
No, you know what? The easiest way to put it across,
things,
Mr. Moyo, easiest way to put it across is Drake is to hip hop what Beyonce is to African music.
Actually, nice we go global citizens to Mama Africa.
Lisela, serious, and again, the Beehive was just not willing to admit it. But one day, we will speak the truth. Drake's truths have been exposed. Maybe Umay Sila one day. Kamumpela and Busiswa and all those who start coming out and telling the stories. She sent us. Oh, that other one. She did. I don't know about that Black Panther time. She did like a music. You remember? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like it was like a. I forget what the name of the item was, but it was again very Afrocentric. And like I remember someone in essay talking about how like. They weren't even sharing the screen with Beyonce. Like everyone was, I think, but this was more the cause was COVID, I think. So I'll give her credit in that sense. Like, I won't judge it completely, but they were sending videos, and the videos were now stitched together and this and that, and I was like, but anyway, Mr. Moy, this is not a.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, but I was going to say this is the less interesting part of it. The most interesting, and I have to go because I have an engagement in the next couple of minutes. Gareth Southgate, another stinker. I wish we had more time to discuss the Euros. I think
actually, do you know what I think we should do?
Pretty bland.
Ahead of the thing. Actually, what I think we should do.
But the knockouts are this weekend.
No, and not ahead of the knockouts, but like after the Euros, ahead of the Premier League season, we should just have like a Bora focused.
Episode. Yeah. No, honestly, if I was unemployed, I would have started a sports podcast.
Right?
Because there's so much
things I need to get off my chest.
Bro, there's so much I need to listen.
Pochettino,
but I'm
Southgate.
glad Gallagher is being exposed. I'd been crying by myself for a whole season. Why is Pochettino playing Gallagher? But you guys are seeing him neckhead in the flesh, and you see that he's a passion merchant. Because every single time a pundit talked about Gallagher, he's going to give you energy. Oh, yeah, son, he's going to come on the pitch. He's going to run around. He's going to make some tackles. And the first thing Gallagher did when he came on in, I think it was England's second game, was give away the ball that almost gave away a goal.
And then he got a yellow card that game. He got a yellow card the next game again. Like, my guy.
Meno comes on
the second game,
and it's a completely you know when you see class, a difference in class. It's just you can't even argue. You can't even be mad. You just sit there and you're like,
You know who else is looking suspect under the lights? Something which I've kind of been saying. I said a few months back that Jude Bellingham is not a number 10. I
thought you were going to say Bukayo, because where is my Bukayo? Has anyone seen Bukayo? Because Bukayo, he's also looking suspect.
To be fair to Saka, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Anything the remotely good that's come from England has come from his flank and has come from his work.
Nah, bro, the own came off and Palmer looked so much better. I'm sorry.
No, Palmer, he did look better.
You can say I'm biased, but and the thing is, and here's my thing. I don't like attacking midfielders that don't have the guts to turn and face their man to try and beat them. Anthony Gordon came on for a split second, and the first thing he did was try to run past his man. That was the first thing that he did. And it's like the rest of the starters, like, what are you, man, doing? Foden. Kane doesn't even look fit. But I love British media when the English are showing their ass. Oh, love it. The last week, I've been entrenched in TalkSport.
Meltdown.
Bro. And TalkSport has so many different pundits. Then when I'm done with that, I go to Sky. Then when I'm done with that, I do ITV.
ESPN.
Then when I'm done with that, I do BBC, ESPN. Yo, bro, like, listen. Hate watching England.
It's nice.
Oh, it's slaps.
On South, you were about to say something on Southgate. Or the Euros in general.
No. I think the Euros have been mediocre so far. There's not been a game that has impressed me. I haven't seen every game, to be fair. There's been moments,
what I think has ruined
moments, but none of the games have really been the quality of football. Rather, let me say it that way. The quality of football has not been great. A few teams have had, like, Spain is a pleasure to watch, but
Germany
Spain's opponents have not been a pleasure to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there hasn't been great football on display. So hopefully the knockouts, but I hate how the bracket is now made it, like all the good teams on one side, and like England can really waltz through to the final.
Literally.
It's Spain, it's Netherlands and Italy, that's it. And there's no one else of consequence.
So what I hate about what's happened with these Euros, and probably they should revert to the old format. So what they've done is this whole 4 of the third best teams qualify.
Yeah.
It's made the last stages of the group games bland. Like, I remember, when you're watching AFCON and it's do or die, and that
that game,
Mets and Warriors, you're watching Zim and you're like, okay, so we need to make sure that we score 2 goals so that we qualify. Like, I was watching Slovenia versus England. Slovenia were very happy to take a 0-0 draw. There was a game last night that also ended Belgium against Ukraine.
Yeah.
There's just been so many times where it's gotten to this stage of the tournament, you expect it to light up, and then it just ends up being, oh no, we can play for a draw. So I don't like what they've done with the format. And also you can start to see Pep's influence on the game. It's negative, it's boring, everyone's trying to do possession, tiki-taka, possession-based football without Pep. So you've got all these
good
players,
thing is the smaller nations
around.
The smaller nations have actually tried to attack.
Like Austria,
You know what I mean?
Austria,
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, Ragnick, United looks bad. You guys look suspect.
But I always
because
said
they're adopting his ideas. He can get press corner civilly. But I don't know.
You tried
what
to make
happened with
Sancho
Trafford.
and Rashford. You tried to make Sancho and Rashford do it, and they were like, "No, he doesn't know anything, bruh."
And now look at Austria looking half decent, and like even like
Right.
the Georgia game yesterday. It was Georgia Portugal. Like they actually zammad something. And then the other game that was next to that is Isola as well. Like the smaller countries, they're just like, listen, bruh, we've got nothing to lose. Balls to the wall.
Yep.
Let's see what one. I hope the knockout stages are going to get better now that it is really do or die. And it would be great to see England get knocked out. I think it's by Slovenia. Or who are they playing? Serbia. I don't know who
They're playing Slovakia.
I get to Oslo, won't get out. But yeah, Slovakia, if that would be hilarious. We saw Iceland do it. So go Slovakia, because my week, probably the rest of my summer, will be amazing if y'all knock them out in the round of 6. Oh, the fallout from that will be hilarious. And it's unfortunate that my boy Palmer will have to suffer. But also I'm mad United has Mainu, bro. That guy looks like he's gonna be a star. Like he looks
He's
legit.
powerful.
He looks like
I think
he
he's
might be the shit.
He's a future captain. You know, I honestly think, story for another day. But if he had been fit beginning of the season and we didn't have all those injuries, it'd have been a half decent year. But anyways,
Okay, we have to wrap it up here, Mr. Moya.
yes.
Shout out to the people you got a little bit. 1 hour 30 minutes is fine. This one, it's okay. Oh, there's actually
Just
it's
less
gonna
than
be
that.
cut up.
1
okay.
hour and a bit.
Was about strong, guys. As you know, like the thing, but we're not really interested in likes anymore. So retweet the thing, subscribe to the thing, and if you don't, we're inclined to believe you're a hater, Mr. Moore.
Laters.